welcome to Sunshine Cathedral's Queer God Squad 2026. I am Bishop Darrell Watkins, the senior minister of the Sunshine Cathedral. With me today are Bishop Robert Griffin, my husband, Reverend Dr. Ann Atwell, and Reverend Kevin Tisdall. We are the Queer God Squad. Visit sunshinecathedral.org to learn more about us.
Queer God Squad was created by Hotspots Happening Now to support our mission to explore the value of faith in the LGBTQ community. There is no streaming TV show like this in the entire world.
In 2026, we are celebrating the 41st anniversary of Hotspots magazine, with Queer News Tonight sharing over 14,000 stories and 12 million views so far.
We are the largest nonprofit LGBTQ media organization in America, and we encourage you to support our mission to inform, entertain, and educate our community and allies.
This is the Sunshine Cathedral Perspective, the value of queer theology for CisHet ministers. Today I'm speaking with the Reverend Dr. Canon Jeff Hood, the author of The Courage to be Queer and ministry partner of the Sunshine Cathedral. So Jeff, The Courage to be Queer, you can get it, online retailers, it's easy to get, and it's a good book.
It's an old book by now.
It's an old book by now, but it's
10 years old.
How did that come about? I do know straight people who identify as queer for lots of reasons, and I know theologians who are very involved in queer theologies, just as they are in feminist theology, womanist theology, Marista theology. But for you, for a Southern white straight guy, wife and kids, how did this become? Because if you Google right now queer theologians, your name is going to pop up in the list. How did this become your passion? Because whatever you write a doctoral thesis about is something you're usually going to work with. That topic is you're going to work with for the rest of your life. And so why did you pick this one? And apparently study it so thoroughly that you're now recognized for it.
I think for me and my work, I've long been troubled by our categories. I've long had a firm belief that part of our problem is that we spend so much time identifying ourselves that we don't spend enough time engaging the other. At the same time, as I often say, the great theologian RuPaul says, how the hell are you going to love somebody if you can't love yourself? But I do think that queer theology has an amazing ability to take us to spaces that are beyond our categories, to take us to places that are similar to that which is in heaven, that which is this place in which people are valued for who they are, irrespective of what they are. People are celebrated for who they are. I think that we have to move from a place of affirmation to celebration. And I think queer theology gives us a unique ability to celebrate this fact that we are all made in the image of a queer God, to be perfectly, irrevocably, and
you say in the book, you mentioned you call God queer in the book.
Right.
So explain to someone that's a brand new idea. So explain to them what you mean.
Sure. I think that God is ultimately beyond all of our categories, beyond definition, beyond ability to encapsulate. And I think that we are all made to be unique and beautifully queer, to be beyond all that would hold us in, beyond borders and boundaries. Gloria Anzaldúa, one of the great queer theorists, Chicana queer theorist, she often talked about this idea of borderlands. that when we go to these spaces of borders, when we go to the edge of our identities, when we go to these spaces that cause us discomfort, we are able to transcend anything that would hold us back. I mean, so I don't think that that there is value to consistently creating borders and boundaries around all that we do. I think that there is value in opening up more and more space as much as we possibly can. And that's one of the things that I do appreciate about Sunshine Cathedral is this is a place that is amorphous and it is constantly opening up more space. And I think that's what God is calling us to, because God is the perfection of space.
Yeah, I sometimes will tell people that for me the word queer means holy, and it reminds me of when before, certainly the Israel of myth, of mythological history, before they became a nation, before they became a power force, a people, when they were coming together and becoming what they were to be, they were meant to be unlike the nations.
Sure.
That was, they were, in fact, they couldn't even have a king at first. They finally decided they needed one, but no king. They had to be unlike, they had to be different from all the other nations. That for them to be holy was to be unlike everybody else.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. Queer, yeah, it means different, it means strange, it means unlike the others. And
God,
that's the definition, the
right.
biblical definition of holiness.
God is holy, and God calls us to be wholly unlike anyone else. So I think that HOLY has a lot to do with the wholeness of who we are. God is holy so that we might be whole. God is holy so that we might live into that holy image, and again, be holy ourselves. I think that part of the issue at the moment is we spend so much time trying to figure out who we are and what we are, instead of simply being ourselves. We try to figure out where we fit instead of being our own fit, the fit that we were created to be. I also wanted to speak to the fact that that I think that most people are unable to love their neighbor as themselves because they're uncomfortable with the queer within. They can't love the queer without because they don't know how to love the queer within. And so it reminds me of John 1:1. In the beginning was the queer was with God, and the queer was God. So this is not just about the individual, it's about all of time and space, and pushing into this borderless and boundless God who loves us and calls us to love ourselves and calls us to love each other. And so queerness is about love.
In the Chinese and Korean interpretations of translations of the Bible, the Greek word logos, instead of being translated as reason or word, is translated as Tao. In the beginning was the Tao, and the Tao, according to Lao Tzu, the Tao that you can name is not the real Tao. The Tao you can understand is not the real Tao. The Tao you can hammer down is not the real Tao. So I love that. The queer within, the queer within, that defies boundaries. That defies definitions. That doesn't let you decide what it is, because it is what it is, and you can't limit it. So I love that.
I think the other part that comes up as you as I listen, in terms of our justice work, we live in an era that has defined justice work by who can speak, who can't speak, who matters, who doesn't matter, what groups get more attention, less attention. And it seems to me that queer theology is the ultimate humanist theology, and that it is about lifting up humanity, lifting up the individual. So what I always say is, you have the power within yourself to stop racism, to stop homophobia, to stop sexism, to stop classism, because you have the power to do that within.
Somebody's grandmother was Church of Christ or Assembly of God or something, or their mother was a Baptist organist or whatever. And this is all very academic and interesting and fascinating. And they know a handful of verses that have tormented them their whole life. So all this theological discussion, that sounds it just sounds like a lot of gobbledygook, because really I know that God hates this or that because I've got a verse from some long dead stranger that I don't know anything about in a language that I don't speak about, but still somebody told me growing up that I was bad and I've never been able to check that. So what do you say to that person, that you have all this amazing theology, but they've still got a Bible verse and that they can't let go of, or they won't let go of them anyway?
I mean, on a very basic level, I always say, don't be an asshole and learn to love yourself. And if you learn to love yourself, you won't be an asshole. I mean, so it's this great queer cycle of, you know,
don't be an asshole.
Don't be an asshole. Don't create more borders and boundaries for people. Let people be who they are. Create space. And if we do that, then we are creating, again, on earth as it is in heaven. There's absolutely no way that you're going to get to heaven and God is going to say, okay, well, what's your sexuality? Or what's your gender? Or what's this and what's that? What God will say is, I love you. And when we say, I love you, we are freeing people. So queer theology, queerness is about setting people free. And when we set people free, we are telling them, I love you. So again, the work of the queer theologian is to look at the individual and say, I love you.
One of the purposes, or some of the purposes of queer theology, queer politics, queer theory, is to dismantle power structures, to deconstruct, to reclaim, like using queer itself, it's a reclamation of a word, so that instead of being something that's frightening or cruel, it's something we get empowerment from and joy. So it's reclamation and challenge and deconstruction. I wonder if one of the things people don't like about it isn't that it's a name that used to be mean or it's celebrating something that I think the Bible says is bad. I wonder if a lot of what people resent about it or push up against about it is that it's a lot of work. Deconstruction is a lot of work.
Right.
And then salvaging from the mess something from that and putting something back together. It's a lot of work. Do you think a lot of it's just easy to be mean? It's just easy to be self-loathing. It's easy to hate others. I just wonder how much of it is just, we're just too lazy to do better.
Well, I mean, I think most of the time we're just too lazy to love. But once you get a taste of love, it's addictive and it's queer.
Yeah.
And you can't go back. So I think once you get a taste of the queer, you can't go back.
Yeah.
And so, you know, I think that, again, it boils down to this very basic principle. God is love. And if God is love, if things are on earth as they are in heaven, then all of these structures that have held us back, all of these borders and boundaries that have held us back will be not just deconstructed, but destroyed.
The Trinity, as Trinitarians go, I'm a pretty weak Trinitarian, but what I do love about it is it symbolizes community, it symbolizes relationality, it symbolizes, I sometimes will say at Trinity Sunday, almost the only time I ever talk about it at all, the Trinity isn't the dancer, it's the dance. And so, which is a very queer, very queer imagery. But that if you are a Trinitarian and you have this relational love, this community, this dance, this thing that's incomprehensible and yet somehow very powerful and important to you, that if you can embrace that, you're already embracing a queer worldview, a queer cosmology. You already have a queer God. So it's always it's always difficult for me when people who say, I believe in the this and the that and the other, and they're all one and the same, and they flow in each other, but that seems very complex. But they can't get love is love. Some people don't fit a binary. So some people identify differently because their brain is different, their soul is different, their hormones are different, whatever. That they can't embrace things that we have a lot more data for. But they love the Trinity, or they love the God they've never seen, or they love people who have very unusual ways of giving birth, at least once in their story. Like they can embrace a lot of incredible things, but not that Heather has two mommies. That floors me, and I think it speaks again to the laziness that I'm happy with my prejudice. I'm not. You can't make me think deeper about it.
I mean, the reality is that there is no male or female. There is no straight or gay. We know that these things take place in a continuum.
You're going to quote Paul.
I mean,
but it's true, right?
We know that these things take place in a continuum. We know that people are coming at this in all different ways. We are individuals. We are queer. And with regards to the Trinity, I always love this Trinitarian language of the queer, God, the queer, Jesus, and the queerest, the Holy Spirit.
The queerest. Oh, if y'all think I'm not stealing that, you're mistaken.
And I think that when we talk like that, the queer, and the queerest, I think what we're saying is God has created us. Jesus is redeeming us and building us, and the Holy Spirit is helping us to live into the fullness of who we are. And so regardless of whether you like Trinitarian language or however you deal with that, I think that what we're talking about is this process, this space and this manifestation of sanctification and perfection, and all of these things that we are slowly becoming, and those things all add up to say we are becoming holy, we are becoming queer.
I know that we're not talking this main topic, trans, but trans is a very hot topic right now because they're being targeted and abused and demonized and demoralized and dehumanized. And one of the things, the two things that people will always say on the socials is, one, God doesn't make mistakes. Right. When God made queer people, she didn't make mistakes, or trans people, she didn't make a mistake. But also, you can be saved. God doesn't want you. This is a sin, and God, why would you think that is a sin? Like, you show me in a creed, show me any in the patristic, show me anywhere in the Bible. They've just decided. So what would you say to someone they've been told their very existence as someone beyond a gender binary? It's wrong, and God can save them, and it's the same thing as when it was about same gender love and attraction. You're just who you are is wrong. What they're under attack right now, our trans friends. What do you say to them?
Well, I mean, I think that the first thing to say is to the haters out there, and I mean, it's like, who gives a fuck? Like, why does it matter so much to you?
Right.
Why do you care so much? I think that if people would spend more time concentrating on themselves, loving themselves, being who they are called to be, then I think that there would be no time to talk about anybody else. There would only be celebration of everybody else, because if you celebrate yourself, you're going to celebrate other people. Loving your neighbor as you love yourself. Celebrate your neighbor as you celebrate yourself. And I think, as far as speaking directly to our trans friends, that I have no interest in spending all this time telling you you're okay. It's not a question of are you okay or not. It's a question of celebration. I love who you are, be who you are, and anybody that doesn't love you who you are is an asshole. And they definitely have nothing to do with the gospel of Jesus. The gospel of Jesus is about love and freedom. Love who you are. We love you. be who you are. And I have such tremendous respect for our trans friends who are the very vanguard of this beloved community, the very vanguard of the realm of God, who are ushering in the queer, who are ushering in queerness, and who I believe are more holy than any of the rest of us. And so I look to our trans friends as a path forward. I think that they are the great evangelists of our time, that they are leading us to freer spaces. And so I don't in any way have any hesitation to say, follow our trans friends. Don't follow all these people who are, trying to keep up categories and borders and don't follow the assholes. And follow our trans friends, because they are the holy ones amongst us.
Dr. Hood is the author of 100 books, one of them being The Courage to be Queer. He is also the founder of the Execution Intervention Project, and you can learn more about that at executionintervention.org. And you can also support that work at that website. And that's today with the Queer God Squad. Thank you for joining the Queer God Squad today. We're here daily at 3 p.m. to have some fun and to discuss what our LGBTQ community is talking about. Please like and share this and other episodes of the Queer God Squad.
Sunshine Cathedral is the world's leading progressive queer church. Progressive, queer, and God are words that naturally should go together. Remember that we are all in this together.
Also remember, you are God's miracle, not God's mistake. Until next time, we are the Queer God Squad.